line design before the surgery. Expansion of the pocket medially must be as much as possible to match that desired intermammary distance 3 or 4 centimeters, considering also the thickness of the medial parenchyma, but also not beyond the border and pectoralis major main body inserting on the sternum. Laterally, the expansion of the pocket must be considering the width not beyond the current width, and if will be necessary, will be expanded with the implant. Perolaterally, behind the pectoralis muscle, we are going to dissect more the upper edge of the pocket measured to avoid the step of the contraction of the pec major of the implant. Laterally, it's important to have the implant not beyond the lateral edge of the pec major, and once the implant inside, we can expand it if it's necessary, dissecting progressively and step by step. The left breast the same, we are using the width of the implant. This is the lateral edge of pec major and the width of the implant, upper pocket limits, medially, inferomedially, and laterally. The same marking of the extra dissection largely behind pec major above the maximum expansion of the pocket. And this dot line seems a little bit how to lower the pocket inside to have the implant at the same side height once we have a small asymmetry of the two inframammary folds. This is submuscular pocket. This is a location in case of the multiplane type 1. This is location of the pec major in the breast region, inferomedial origin, the costal one of the 6 ribs and partially the rib. We are going to create a small windows through the origin of the pec major, about 3 centimeters. Then we are entering behind the muscle and we are dissecting step by step sequentially all the pocket medially, superiorly, and then laterally, but not beyond the considered limit. Then we are moving for the second plane. This is designed with the green line. Vertical tunnel in the lower pole, then expansion progressively superiorly the same size as the submuscular pocket, but laterally not beyond the lateral edge of the pec major, and then 2 or 3 horizontal scoring in full thickness of glandular parenchyma. And as you can see, now we have the pectoralis muscle attached to overlying tissue, skin and parenchyma, and laterally the same, which means the distribution and interface between pec major, current parenchyma, it's not changing by lower edge of the implant displacement, like for example dual plane type 2 or type 3. This is important because it's still creating a good coverage of the implant. Also, reattachment of the glandular parenchyma in the superomedial position, passive or active with suture or external taping. The same thing the other side. And as you can see, dissection of the muscle pec major is done initially through a window. Now it's subglandular pocket modified. This is like a keyhole or a mushroom. Horizontal scoring, and then inferomedially up to the level of the main body of pec major, we are creating and weakening a dissection of the pec major, close, very close to the inframammary fold future location, but below at least 1.5 centimeters from the subglandular space dissection, which means we are creating a small gap by implant projection, which are now by settle down, recreating the fold, but also the pec major stay in the position without high riding movements, which are creating the risk of torsion of the pec major, like with dual plane type 2 or type 3. And another advantages of this incision and modified subglandular dissection is that it's avoiding implant high riding up, and this is more available in case of polyurethane implants under the muscle, which tends to go superolaterally. This is helping to recreate nicely the inframammary fold and also create a nicer intermammary distance. As you can see, the left breast is a little bit lower the parenchyma, but the inframammary fold is a little bit higher, and this anatomic position and looseness of the tissue, it creates this distortion and appearance of pseudoptotic more on the left breast. Now we are starting the surgery. The patient on the operating table, we are going to check the distances we already decided. For location inframammary fold, mid nipple to inframammary fold, 9.3, 9.5, approximately 5 millimeter more from the areola size. It will be, for my point of view, around 9.5, but 10 centimeter is ideally in these cases. This is just simply for incision location, because the pocket must be a little bit shorter. In these particular cases, the incision location, which means then going progressively through the tissue, it's the same level with the pocket location and the lower edge of the implant. Incision size 5.5 centimeter. As I told you, this is around 3 centimeter laterally and 2.5 millimeter medially. Then we are going to dissect some muscular pocket, width and height of the implant or anatomic fixed landmarks, upper edge of the 4 ribs a little bit beyond, and the lower edge of the 6 ribs. Then the subglandular pocket modified, vertical tunnel limited in the lower pole, then expanded superomedially, same size of some muscular pocket, and laterally not beyond the lateral edge of the pec major. Then we are scoring the glandular parenchyma. In the deep thickness of glandular parenchyma, 3 levels: 1, upper half of the upper pole, then close to the middle, and the other one, the lower pole half, upper half. This scoring depends on parenchyma thickness, must be about 50% of the parenchyma thickness, and once creating this expansion, which is a control expansion, instruments used for this surgical procedure are